Okay, in this two, they're wanting us to identify the various dimensions and then to solve for volume. So on A is talking about length, and here we're say width, and this is height. So our length would be 5 centimeters, our width is 2 centimeters, and our height is 4 centimeters. Now, first off, we do length times width, which is 5 times 2, we'd end up with 10 centimeters squared. That's because we'd be solving for the bottom face of this rectangular prism, which would be the same thing as the top face. And we can see on the top face we'd have 10 cubes, or 10 centimeters squared. And that's exactly what we have. So we've solved for the face. Now the height are how many layers we have. And you can see on this prism we have 4 layers because our height is 4. So now we have 10 centimeters squared times 4 layers equals 40 centimeters cubed. So we would end up with 40 centimeters cubed. For the next one, same thing with length, height, width, and height. Our length is 3, our width is 2, and our height is 5. So figuring out our face, which would be the bottom face or the top face, right here. So we know 3 times 2 is going to give us 6 centimeters squared. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. So 6 centimeters squared times 5 equals 30 centimeters cubed. On D, we have our length, our width, and our height. And we can say our length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And our width is 3, and our height is 3. So finding the top or bottom face, 8 times 3, which will give us 24 centimeters squared. And then multiplying it by the 3 layers, which would be 24 centimeters squared times 3, which is going to give us 72 centimeters cubed. Now it says write a sentence that you could use to calculate the volume for each of the rectangular prism in problem 1. Include the units in your sentences. Okay. Well, we've already basically talked about in the first couple. So you would have been doing the length times the width times the height on all of them. And you would just be substituting your different units for the variables length, width, and height. Number 3. Now 3A is done for us. So I'm going to do 3B, and I like to label what I have. Okay, so this one here would be my width. This is going to be my height, and the top would be my length. So I can see if I want to do length times width times height, and it doesn't matter what order I do them in, as long as I make sure I have 3 different dimensions. That's the reason I like to label them. The length is actually 10 times our width, which was 3, times our height, which was 7, which equals 30 times 7, which equals 210 centimeters cubed. Miss Johnson is constructing a box in the shape of a rectangular prism to store clothes for the summer. It has a length of 28 inches, a width of 24 inches, and a height of 30 inches. What is the volume? Well, I like to do visuals, so I'm going to go ahead and draw a box. And it says it has a length that's 28 inches. The width which is 24 inches, and a height, which is 30 inches. And we know length times width times height. I like to think of length and width first because I like to solve for a face. So we have 28 times 24. You want to standard 8 times 4 is 32. 4 times 2 is 8, and 3 is 11. Put our placeholder, 2 times 8 is 16, carry our 1, 2 times 2 is 4, 1 is 5. So we end up with 600, out of these two, 672 inches squared times our height, which is 30 inches. So now I've got 672 times 30. We put our placeholder, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 7 is 21, and 3 times 6 is 18, and 2 is 20. So now we can see we have 20,160 centimeters cubed for the volume of the box. On 5, now this is actually showing you, says face area, 169 inches, square inches. Okay, so what they're trying to tell you, here's our prism. Okay, and they're saying this face right here is 169 inches squared. They're saying the height is 14 inches. So we have 169 times 14. 4 times 9 is 36. 6 times 4 is 24. And 3 is 27. 4 times 1 is 4. And 2 is 6. Our placeholder, 1 times 9 is 9. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. We add those up. We end up with 6, 16, 13, 23, 66 inches cubed for our volume.